Yesterday was a lot of fun. I had a party and I celebrated with my friend's birthday, and then I watched this movie which, I don't know what to say about this movie.
Like we used to do.
Johnny English Strikes Again is the third Johnny English movie, and this movie returns the cast of Rowan, Atkinson, and also Ben Miller. Now in this movie, Johnny English Strikes Again tells the story where Britain's top secret agent has been leaked and has been hacked and has been revealed all over the world, and the only unrevealed agent is basically Johnny English. That's right, Johnny English, the only agent who was not revealed through the whole world. And now Johnny English is on a mission again to save Britain once and for all. Well, yeah, that's just the plot. That's the plot because, yep, like every plot, Johnny English is back and he's gonna save the world, that's for sure. Now, when I heard that Johnny English is gonna make another movie, I'm like, wait, there's another Johnny English movie? I mean, I haven't watched the first and the second one, and before the third one came out, I had to spend my time watching the first and the second one, which was enjoyable. The first movie was okay, I enjoyed it very much, it's laughable. The second movie was, it's pretty much okay, and the third movie, well, I'll tell you more about later on. First of all, I remember I grew up watching Mr. Bean, I grew up watching Rowan Atkinson. I'm gonna be honest that when I grew up, I wanted to live like Mr. Bean because his life was very jolly. I mean, living in an apartment with your teddy bear and then doing jolly things would be a fun thing to do. But in this movie, it's not. It's not a good idea. Then there was Johnny English Born, which I never get to watch that movie because I was watching something else. And then there's Johnny English Strikes Again. And I was like, okay, that movie's getting an early release, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go watch this movie on my friend's birthday. I give it a try, and we laughed a lot. But when we got out of the theater, my friend told me that this movie was not like how I expected it to be. First of all, I watched the Johnny English movie. Don't just come into the theater and say that, oh, it's a Johnny English movie, it's a Rowan Atkinson movie, I'm gonna like this movie, haha, yeah, it's one of the greatest Johnny English movie ever, without watching the first and the second one. There are many things to say about the first one. First of all, I like the gags. That's the point of the movie. It's basically a spy comedy movie where basically this stupid lunatic spy is trying to save the world while doing lunatic things at the same time, and that's Rowan Atkinson. I like the nature of Rowan Atkinson. Rowan Atkinson, in terms of being Mr. Bean and also Johnny English, knows how to make a comedy. He knows how to arrange them, but sometimes gags won't work. He uses gags to make a movie without understanding the plot line. I mean, when I see the storyline, I see all the three movies, you feel like there's no connection. I mean, there's actually a connection. There must be a timeline for this movie that no one is looking at it because they're more focusing on the gags and the comedy and the character itself. I mean, there should be a timeline. Like, when I saw the second movie, they say he was in an escort mission. Mr. Bean was at Zombiak, and I was like, how the hell did he get to Zombiak without making a movie out of it? And then Mr. Bean was now finally, Johnny English has been spending time basically teaching kids how to become a spy. And I was like, I mean, that's pretty much okay. I mean, Johnny English teaching kids how to become a spy. The kids are good at being a spy, but Johnny English himself being a spy on a mission trying to save the world is good. I mean, he's a good spy, but in every mission he does, he ends up doing lunatic things. Like, for example, he burns down a restaurant because he's attempting to steal a phone. And then there was also that time where basically he was actually trying to record a footage where this bad guy is planning something, and then he tries to show it to the leader, and turns out that what he showed was actually a different footage because what he stole was actually another phone. Well, actually, I'm going to tell you that when I watched this movie, there were similarities in this movie, and that's what I want to say. There are similarities in this movie. I mean, you feel like at the beginning watching Johnny English doing things, it's basically fun, but when you're watching the movie, if you watch the first movie, you will find there are many similarities similar to the first thing. There are many similar elements that are similar to the first movie. The characters are similar but a little bit same. Don't say that the characters are different because, I mean, you get the same characters. Their characters are very different, but they're actually similar. And also the storyline is very similar. Johnny English was on a mission, he done stupid things, and then he got fired, and then he finds out that the villain was actually the villain. Well, I'm going to tell you more about the characters later on. I mean, there are some similar moments in this movie. For example, Johnny English is basically doing stupid things. He met with a girl who was also an evil agent, but then suddenly turns down and then joins with Johnny English to make sure that she takes down the evil villain. And then there's also a time where Johnny English was basically recording a footage, and then it was on the disc, and then he would try to show it to the people, but it turns out that he showed the wrong file. Instead, he just showed him doing things. He just showed happy moments in that footage. Well, yeah, I was really disappointed. I mean, the movie itself is okay, and in terms of gags, I mean, the gags are fine. There were laughable gags. For example, Johnny English, he was using his VR, and then he was on a mission. He was trying to practice himself on how to beat the villain, and turns out he was actually off the treadmill, and then instead he just attacks people in real life without taking off his VR. I mean, their gags are very similar, but they're using gags to pull up a story. They're using the gags to build up this movie. And I want to say that the gags are laughable at other times, but at other times it tries to make you laugh only just for doing one stupid thing. Like Johnny English just basically fall off a staircase and you're supposed to laugh at it, but it's not. This is the type of movie that you don't criticize. You only enjoy this movie by laughing at how silly his gags is and how lunatic this guy is doing, how lunatic Rowan Atkinson is doing. I'm going to say that Rowan Atkinson, being Johnny English, he knows how to make a gag. And I'm proud of him being Johnny English, but at other times, Johnny English doing lunatic things is also a big disappointment to the storyline. His character, he stays true to the character, but in terms of storyline, he doesn't. You also get Ben Miller back as Buff, which I was really happy about because I saw him in the first movie, and Buff was really another sidekick, which I really seem to enjoy. And Buff doesn't seem to do much, but at least Buff has a part in this movie. He's still returning, but it's like 50-50 compared to the first movie. You also get Olga Kurylenko's character, who is basically this Russian agent, and I mean, she's similar to the first one, but instead it's a different characteristic. She's also trying to go against Jason Volta, the villain, or either go with Johnny English. Like, she wants to go against Johnny English because she's jealous that she wants to be the only agent to take down Johnny English because maybe Johnny English did something to her. And then you also get Jason Volta, who's the villain here, played by Jack Lacy. Now, Jason Volta, what he wants to do is basically he's an Apple creator. He's basically like, he builds this kind of like an organization. He builds this Apple technology. He builds this company where he can create good phones and good stuff. And he actually has this plans to destroy people's internet, to take down people's Wi-Fi, so then the world will be dark and all that. I mean, the villain is similar. They're similar. There's a time where basically he's going to meet with the government, and then he's gonna tell his plans, which is similar to the first one, when Pascal Sauvage was actually trying to tell people that he wants to be a good king, but he's actually going to be a bad king. Jason Volta says he's going to be a good leader, and instead he becomes a bad leader because he has this technology. He creates this company where he creates a technology. He makes a software where he can hack things, and then he hacks stuff. There's also that moment where basically the traffic lights are on and off, and Johnny English is basically just outside doing lunatic things, and I'm like, how is this movie going to go? Like, what is Johnny English doing ever since there are bad things happening in Britain and Jason Volta is the villain, which I knew it's a plot twist because you expect basically this big good guy company is going to be the bad villain, and the company CEO, they're like the good guys, but turns out they're actually bad guys, which I'm really speechless to see this movie. If you watch Johnny English, if you watch the first movie, you're going to enjoy that movie, but if you watch it with the third movie, you're going to be disappointed for how similar it is. I have to say this, but Johnny English Strikes Again is a throwback to the first movie, which was dumb enough to make some improvements. Their storylines are similar, and the duration is very similar. The first movie is 88 minutes, and the second movie is 88 minutes. I'm very serious about it. And as well, the storyline is very similar. It feels like the director wanted to bring a throwback to the movie. I mean, the first movie was released 15 years ago, and what the director did was that they just bring back the same format. They just use the same format from the first movie and then turn it into the third movie, which I felt like it was a pattern. The first movie was the first movie, it's the original, and then the second movie was different, but the third movie is stated first, so it's kind of like, you know, in order to make a sequel, we'll just do the same thing all over again. But no, it doesn't work. You need to have different villains. That's good. You already got different villains, different gags, but same storyline. No, you don't arrange in the same storyline. I mean, there might be a different passage you could do. Like, for example, John English maybe accidentally fails at something and then he gives up or something. When Johnny English gets fired, I feel like, oh my god, is this the second time he did that again? Because I don't remember seeing that in the second movie. It felt repetitive to the first movie. And I'm going to say that in terms of movie, I'm going to say I enjoy it. I'm going to rank that the first Johnny English is my favorite, the second goes Strikes Again, and then the third one is Reborn. I mean, I thought Reborn was actually okay, but Reborn feels like there were some moments that I feel like I was pissed off with. But with Strikes Again, I felt like it's a little bit of a throwback, but at other times they could have done more to it. So I'm going to say it's a little bit 50-50, or I can go 40% with this movie. But yeah, that was my review on Johnny English Strikes Again. Have you seen it? What do you think of the movie? Let me know in the comments below. And by the time I'm done with this movie review, I mean, I'm sorry I didn't get to react to these trailers, like for example, Dark Phoenix, Bumblebee, Fantastic Beast, and as well Creed 2. However, these three movies are possible movies that I might see on my own on a Wednesday.
Most of them gon' talk, I know. Most of them gon' fall, I know.
Because I watched Johnny English with my friend on the Wednesday because it was his birthday and there was nothing to do in school on Wednesday. So maybe I'll watch these three movies on a Wednesday when I got nothing to do because maybe I want to watch it. But yeah, that was my review on Johnny English Strikes Again. I'm sorry for this negative review, but that's what I have to say about this movie. If you love Rowan Atkinson and you feel like you love Johnny English, well, this might be the movie for you. This might be the movie where you want to laugh a lot, where you have lots of gags to laugh at. But if you watch the first Johnny English, you won't like the third one if you can check on the storyline. So just don't see the movie from its gags. You'll only enjoy this movie for the gags. Like I said, this is the type of movie you enjoy only for the gags. You don't criticize it by how terrible it is. You only criticize by how laughable it is. But yeah, that was my review on Johnny English Strikes Again. Here's the outro.
That is all for this video. If you do enjoy this video, give it a like. That would be very helpful. And in the description, you'll find the link so you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. I appreciate you guys for watching this, and I'll see you another time. Bye-bye.